Muffin Top Thursday chat. We are going to go ahead and continue with this BZA RZA EMP series that we started. And at the end of the chapters, everyone, we are going to discuss what we learned, what we thought, maybe an improvement, something that sparked a rabbit hole that we went down in our brains. That's what we do. You know how we discuss the audiobooks, and that's what we're going to do tonight because Muffin Top has other plans, but Muffin Top will deliver a chat, even if it's late.
I just got the notification on YouTube. We're live on YouTube.
Naked. All right, and when does Shot Show drop? When is isn't that like a 2 or 3 day deal, roughly?
Shot Show is next week. Monday's the range day. The actual show runs Tuesday to Friday.
We have a show on Tuesday scheduled normally. We will be doing a Shot Show presentation live and going through some stuff and discussing what makes us want to buy it and what makes us want to trade stuff out of the safe and rotate things out to get new stuff, or if we think it's crap. So
I'm curious about that. I'm curious about that new EOTech LPVO that came out.
I'm sure we will discuss. But that is next Tuesday. For the regular Muffin Top chat. Uh-oh. Whole bunch of YouTube channels talking about terror cell warnings. Get ready.
Yeah, while we're waiting for folks to funnel in, if they're still awake this late, all your shorts that you put up the last day or so, I was watching those earlier. I tried to go back to comment on one of them, and the comments didn't work on any of them. Like, I couldn't comment. So
really? I commented on some of them.
Well, I know I've commented on some of them, but I went back to comment on the wood stove one, and it showed that you had 2, but it wouldn't let me comment. So I don't know if you're being throttled or if it's your settings. Sometimes you upload your shorts.
Definitely not my settings. Let me look. Which one? The one where it's in the fireplace?
Yeah. You said got it loaded up, and we'll see how long it lasts.
It's got 2 comments. Scoot was one, and I replied to him. So I think you just suck.
Maybe.
Which, by the way, that did not work in the fireplace. FYI, it was too windy. So if it's too windy, I get a backdraft to the point where that's actually not strong enough to go out. Like a regular fire would work, but that one was not strong enough, especially because it's designed to be smokeless. So it's like not super efficient at like shoving smoke up the chimney. So that's super unfortunate because I was going to burn like a bunch of bills and just dinky sticks and twigs and crap.
Do you have a bellows? Kind of get some airflow started, get it burning, and then from there it'll just feed itself.
No, I just blew it, and I'm really good at that. So
I bet you are.
Yeah, comment should work for you. Boom. Yeah, Muffin Top. This seems to work out better. I'll knock out a bunch of videos like a Friday night or Saturday when like the boy and the wife are taking a nap or something, and then I just schedule them for the whole week, and it seems to make me more consistent at getting content out. So I think we'll continue that trend.
Check your Pat door because Pat's in the YouTube comments.
Pat, I sent you a thing. Pat, check your DMs, sir. You have the invite.
Tell you what, man, my alpaca wool socks were worth their weight in gold this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna get me some darn tough socks that Lawfully keeps talking about. That will be good.
Where do you get those from?
I don't know, the internet. Robert Ham? I don't know.
I keep getting them for Christmas, but they sell them on Amazon.
Yeah. I will say public service announcement. Lawfully, I think you talked to me about this. I took all the crap off my Magpul sling, like all the single point shit, and I'm just basically running it like the $31 one, the MS1. That sling ain't too bad, man. That little quick feel that it has for 31 muffins for quick adjustment and things like that. And just it's wide enough and it's thick enough. Like it feels pretty good. Like maybe a padded one later on in the future, but honestly, this thing works pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not mad at the MS1.
Yeah, I deleted the single point crap because I'm done with QDs. I went
American
back to
made
Magpul or the tie in the front, and then I just wrapped it in the back because I have that's the one I have set up for thermal. So I have the horizontal mag carrier that I throw the battery pack in. Anyway, All right, Pat, what's up?
Not much.
Demo Man Don, what's up? Thanks for hopping in, everybody. Boy, it's kind of a smaller stream, but that's, whatever. We're going to run through this book series again, if that's cool with you, Pat. Or more of it, anyway.
Cook threads.
What?
Everyone was just talking about socks.
Oh, yeah?
Covert threads. They were on sale.
Oh, yeah? Where do those run?
They're normally like 30 a pair, but they were on sale for 15.
Ooh, shit. Like a location or what? Like what store sells these? I've never heard of any of these brands you guys have.
It's just a website.
Okay. What's the Darn Toughs run, Lawfully? No, Lawfully, okay. Fiend Dog, what's the socks?
In that ballpark.
Oh, 15? Okay.
No, like 30
or
30. $27, $28 a pair.
What's your alpacas run?
$75 a pair.
Oh, my Lord. I'm too poor for that.
But we got them on at the Great American Outdoor Show in Harrisburg. We got them for, I think they were $50 a pair.
Jesus. All right. I'm sticking with the other two options. Thanks. Actually, we have an alpaca wool guy. I should go see if I can get some shit just direct from him. That'd be cool.
It's supposed to be the warmest type of wool there is.
Yeah. He's very profitable. He only has
and it's not itchy.
He only has 6 alpacas, and he makes enough to like feed them. So.
And they make them too that go all the way up your legs, not just up to your knees, so you don't need to wear long johns.
I thought you were going to say something else. Hey, while I'm here, Lawfully, can you confirm or deny this? Can you run a 22 can on a 5.7?
Depends on the manufacturer and what they rate it for. A lot of them, yes, but not all of them.
Shit. How about the Sparrow?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's the one my LDS has.
I think so, but I don't remember. It would be as simple as him opening the box and reading the owner's manual. If not there, Stone Chicago's website would specify.
Gotcha. What's up, Randy Butternuts? Cool, man. Well, we're going to run through this audiobook series, guys, and I really like it. This guy has a couple good ones. I thought of a couple others that I used to listen to a lot, and I think the audio series is great. A, to take you away from the news, and B, lets you critical think. So I think we need both of those things right now because the news is over inundated and, could create issues. You know what I mean? To create short-sightedness, and sometimes you need to step away to see the big picture. And I want everybody to focus heavily on, if you're in these areas that are having issues with snow, whatever, cold, and you have gaps in your heat preps, get them filled. Because gas is already going up here with all the Biden things that are going on. There's a gas line leak. I don't know if it's natural gas, LP, whatever. I seen an article on it today, but they never, Southern Pepper 1 did it way earlier, at like lunchtime for me. I didn't hear where it was or if it was contained or what type of gas it was in that video. I listened to it twice and I missed it both times if he said it. But that's a big problem, let alone the demand. These states that don't typically get this stuff is going to drain the resources. So, propane, all the stuff like that. Any alternate heat. Diesel's going to go up because there's diesel generators. Kerosene's going to get dried up for a minute. It's going to get all allocated just like it does, after a hurricane, whatever, a big storm. And it's a wide swath. We're supposed to hit like -30 with wind chill here Sunday. So Muffin Top has his stuff fired up and ready to rock. I need to probably run a test run on my buddy heater with my adapter for my big tank. I wheeled 100-gallon home, so.
Natural gas is expensive now, man. I just got a bill for almost $400.
Yeah, well, it just depends where you're at. It's rated here if you're on it. You only pay like $125 a month all year long, though, so when you don't run it. But opposed to getting hit with a big bill.
Yeah, they just jacked us up 25%.
Well, yeah, see, you're not prorated. That sucks.
I just got a $400 electric bill.
Yeah, I'm at $200 right now, but I will augment with the fireplace a little bit. And the oven. use your heat wisely. Anyway, let's do this audiobook, guys. Anything like that. What's up, C&T? This is anything that you think you need now, get. Like, I even thought about going and snagging another AR real quick because I think some shit's going to pop off. But I think I'm going to redirect and go for ammo instead.
Yeah, the price of ammo is fixing to go up with those tariffs.
Yeah, and with, after we just got rid of everything except for Hornady as our domestic manufacturer, that's why Muffin Top supports Hornady.
Hornady.
It's Hornady. Okay, I live here. I have family members that work there. It's Hornady.
And they're wrong.
That's
You're
okay.
retarded over there.
Yeah, over here in Nebraska, we got our own kind of language, and y'all are just gonna have to get over it. Howdy from Alaska. How you doing, Dom? It's probably fucking cold over there. My first winter in the house, I got a $500 heat bill. Yeah, no shit, man. I mean, even if you just get a whole bunch of Walmart, y'all have that stash bin of like the leftover sacks and stuff. If you got screen doors and stuff, put a blanket over it with a bunch of those in there. Those actually have a little bit of insulation value. And if you don't crunch them up, if you spread them out, newspapers, do your plastic wrap on your windows, guys. Do everything you can to help you. Put towels up with freaking I can't think of the word. Tacks. Use tacks. Put all those $1 fleece blankets that Muffin Top tells you to pick up when they're dirt cheap. Put all those in front of all your windows with the plastic wrap. Add insulation. Shut off doors. Conserve your heat the best you can. Block off registers. Kill those rooms off. Put towels on the doors. Whatever. All that room is air. That's an extra insulation value. Try to heat just your main areas where your pipes are, your bathrooms, your kitchens, and one room where y'all are sleeping. If you got kids or whatever, try to just pile in one room for now to conserve your fuel. Anyway, just saying, just tips.
I feel sorry for people with oil heat.
I wouldn't. It works really good until you have to clean it. And Muffin
It's
Top
$800 a month.
No, it just depends what you got. Yeah, I know people that run waste oil. I know people that run recirced oil. I know mechanics that run that shit. It works really good. I'm never servicing one again because you come out blacker than the night is,
Yeah.
after you're done cleaning that shit. And it's super combustible when you don't service it. So make sure you do that. Just had LP filled today, 715 muffins. Geez, what's that, 100, 300 gallon tank? I don't know what your price is where you're at. Damn. Anyway, we're going to run this through, boys. Ready? Steady? Mute yourselves.
Engage.
Yeah.
Emergency alert of the Russian invasion was the last thing I wanted to hear. We now had domestic marauders and a foreign invasion on American soil. I thought to myself, maybe this is all one shitty nightmare. Let me pinch myself. Nope, this is the real deal. SHTF, WROL, whatever you wanted to call it. The recovery mission to my mother-in-law's just became even more risky. What if the Russians started bombing my town? How was the American military going to respond? Surely some of their fleet was affected by the EMP. Darkness was quickly beginning to set in. We hadn't heard any more jets since the original group passed over. Maybe they were heading west towards Buffalo or Cleveland. I decided to go ahead with a 1.5-mile trek to my wife's mother's apartment. I could bike there, but that would be risky. I'd be spotted easier. The decision was made to hoof it. I grabbed my chest rig, loaded with 6 spare magazines, chambered in 5.56, my AR-15, the Beretta 90 series I picked off the Marauders, a walkie-talkie, and my get-home bag. If I got into trouble and was stuck, that bag had everything I needed to survive a minimum of 3 days. Eddie on night watch would position himself in my front yard behind some now overgrown bushes. My 8-year-old daughter did not want me to go. She was hysterical. I promised her Daddy would be back in a few hours. I had planned to return home by daylight. I told Jack, Eddie, and my wife I'd only radio them if I ran into trouble. I kissed my daughters and my wife goodbye for what I hoped wasn't the last time. I shook Jack and Eddie's hands, told them to stay safe, and keep my girls even safer. It was pushing 10 p.m. when I left my house. I had a good 7+ hours of darkness for cover. The shortest and quickest journey would be the main roads. It was about 400 yards from my driveway to the main road due south. This was my first time venturing out since day one when I had the incident at the gas station. My heart was beating fast. I was extremely nervous. I had no idea what to expect or what I'd run into. I thought about going through backyards, but was worried someone protecting their home would shoot me. I had 4 cars broke down on my road. I'd use these for cover till I got off my street. I had one more thing against me too. It was a full moon. With no street lights, it's amazing how much light the moon projects off. I could smell wood fires as I maneuvered down the street. I also could see candles burning in the houses. These people had no awareness and no idea of OPSEC. As I got out onto the main road, there were cars and trucks littered everywhere. Wherever they were when the EMP hit is where they now stayed. I decided I'd use the cars and trucks to my advantage and weave in and out, using them as cover, staying as low to the ground as I could. 200 feet down the road, the smell hit me. It was the smell of death cooking in 90+ degree temperatures the past few days. I grabbed a bandana from my bag, tied it off to cover my nose and mouth. As I approached the vehicle, all I could see were hordes of flies. I was doing everything I could not to vomit from the smell. It was an older lady, deceased inside. She was covered in flies and maggots. I glanced quickly, but saw no blood or visible wounds. Perhaps she had a pacemaker that gave out at the exact moment of the EMP strike. Further down, I could see and smell what I assumed was a house fire. With no fire department, it was left to spread to adjoining houses. One mistake with a candle could now take out a row of houses. It could also have been marauders burning people out of their homes. That was now my biggest worry for my own house. The 2 fire extinguishers would be no match for a burning, raging inferno. As I carefully approached the burning home, I could see the siding on the neighboring houses beginning to melt from the heat. The house to the right was still occupied, and the people were starting to exit it. At that moment, my biggest fear became reality. Gunshots rang out as the people who lived there made their way outside. Some sick bastard was burning them out and then taking them out. I took cover behind the closest broken down vehicle. The shots continued to ring out. I could see a fire in the road about 75 yards down due west, and what looked like downed trees and telephone poles blocking the road. I saw the glow coming off the barrel of a gun positioned behind the trees and poles. I didn't want them to hear chatter on my walkie or risk them hearing me radio Eddie and Jack. I quickly shut it off completely. I had no idea how many of them there were. I could see 6 to 7 bodies on the ground in front of me at the house they were getting burned out of. The gunshot stopped, and I heard a voice say, "Burn the next one down." They were throwing Molotov cocktails at houses and burning people out. The voice sounded eerily familiar, and then it hit me. It was the same voice from the gas station. The junkie who held me at gunpoint to rob me. What had I done? I let that piece of shit live on day one, and now he had killed at least a family of 6. On day 5, I wouldn't make the same mistake. The objective of the mission just changed. Every decision you make in a time like this has consequences, one way or another. The adrenaline was taking over. Stupidly, I didn't give a thought to how many people he was with. My one goal was to kill him. As his partner stepped close to the next house to start it on fire, I was concealed behind a car now 50 yards from them. I opened fire, quickly dispersing him. The Molotov cocktail fell to the driveway, breaking and starting on fire. One down. Not sure how many left to go. Return fire came immediately in my direction. There was now a shootout in the middle of a suburban street. But I had the advantage. They were partially blinded from the fire smoke in front of them. I emptied a non-compliant New York State 30-round magazine in their direction and decided to try and flank them by maneuvering northwest behind a row of houses and coming up behind them. He was still shooting down towards the car I had been taking cover at. He was the only one I could see. It was one-on-one now, and he had no idea I was closing in behind him. I heard him mumble he was out of ammo. I decided to pounce. With his back still turned towards me, and me coming from behind a house to his left, I fired 2 shots at his lower body. He fell over still alive. I carefully approached and asked him if he remembered me. He didn't. Probably because he was high as shit that first night at the gas station. I told him I was the guy who tried robbing at Sunoco for $200 the moment the world went to shit. I told him for everything he's done, he deserves a bullet between the eyes. But I wasn't wasting another round on him. I pulled out my United States Marine Corps K-bar and just about decapitated his sorry ass.
We're back. All right, what do y'all think?
I think we listened to that episode or that chapter last time.
Did we really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might be right. Whoops. Well, it was just to get everybody caught back up.
I do have a few takeaways though. Do you have fire extinguishers in your house?
Yes, and
Get
fire.
0.9.
But is it enough? Jesus Christ, that commercial flies are short.
It'll probably never be enough unless you catch something early. But just the fact of having a fire extinguisher at all. I have a 5-pound one, but I don't know if it's still good. I've had it for years and years.
Yeah, probably not.
Also, if you're going to burn candles in your house, put aluminum foil underneath of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or a
Catch
piece of sheet metal or a clay pot deal.
Yeah, it catches the wax and doesn't make a mess. And if it falls over, you don't burn your house down.
Or a glass plate or a bowl. To the same. Yes, you need some kind of barrier between that and what you're setting it on. Preferably if it's mobile. I have a couple of those old school candlesticks like the old crypt keeper used to walk around the house with. I found them at Goodwill. I was like, these are bitchin'. So I picked them up. And then they have those little ones that you used to put the candles in that have a mirror so it would shoot the light across the room a little bit. You can find those at Goodwill all the time. So if you guys are looking for some stuff to stack from Goodwill, put a little piece of
Yep.
sheet metal above where they're going to burn because it'll leave a black mark on your ceiling otherwise. So something that's cleanable, not inflammable would be the best. So I'm an HVAC guy, so I use some chunk of sheet metal.
We have a bunch of old hurricane lamps and the fuel for them.
And they stink.
Yeah, they do have a smell. And they're
Priest B
probably
says
more
fire
of a fire
blanket.
hazard than
Fire blankets are awesome.
We got one for Christmas last year at Christmas 23.
Right. Leo, what's up? Or did he bounce out? Okay.
Also reiterating something I said last time about the rule of law eventually returning. Might be kind of hard to explain, just cutting a guy's head off in
Right.
self-defense.
Right. Would not recommend that.
I think if you were actually at that point, I don't think when society does return, you're going to miss a couple of scumbags.
Well,
Like in this
maybe.
fictional work of art, like we know people of that caliber of human being, and I don't think that when the community did resurge, that anybody would miss those kinds of scumbags. But I can appreciate the advice too.
Well, if it comes down to, it's you or them, any means necessary. But at that point, he's already been shot, and he said he was out of ammo.
I mean, if you're not going around collecting evidence against yourself,
Yeah, I think I probably
That's-
just would have shot him.
yeah.
I would have just stabbed him between his eyes with the K-bar and not cut his head off.
Shit, fiend dog. Who do you think you'd be?
In Minecraft.
Yeah, definitely not in real life. On
Because that works in court.
On Call of Duty.
Real
Get
smooth.
him from across the map with the K-bar.
360 no scope.
And those guys piss me off. They know where to throw the tomahawks and stuff, and
That used to be me, baby. On
they
spawn.
they hit you like before you even walk away. Fuckers.
Me, baby.
The ricochet hand grenade, you just get the noise and then you fall over.
Yep.
You got baseballed.
Best part is when you could carry two, so you got 2 kills before you was even running and gunning, baby.
Coldfoot said his favorite part was Mountain Dew Code Red.
They still make Code Red?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't
It's about to get
intentionally bought
smoked
soda in
here
a
with
long time.
the removal of the dye, right?
It
Yeah.
won't change the flavor.
It's still gonna be red. Just gonna be the next code.
It'd be red dye number 4.
Yeah, that's what they got rid of, which has been removed from cosmetics for a long time, as it's been known to cause cancer in what they tested on, which is lab rats and mice. So fucking put that shit on your lips, baby.
Yeah, all my red power aids and stuff like that I drink every day, I guess, are going to be gone.
Yeah, nobody drinks red. That's the worst color.
Did y'all see the headline today that Zen's got FDA approved as safe?
Yeah, I've seen that. That's a big deal for Red Dawn readiness and Wiretite. They're all about that Zen life.
They're just
Wired
what,
Tight.
nicotine, right?
Wired
Yeah.
Tight quit the Zen.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Said it was fucking his stomach up.
Oh. All right.
Yeah, they got me sick when I tried them. Got off a headache and burned the crap out of my throat.
That's just nicotine, baby. All right.
I put too many in my mouth. I put 4 at a time.
You dingus.
Damn, you chipmunking it?
Well,
Yeah,
I used to do dip, so I'm thinking, it's going to be just like do dip. Pack a big fatty,
Pack a big fatty, he says.
And then you went zoom.
Boom, baby. Get out the way. Anybody
Yeah, I
else
think you're
take
only supposed
anything
to
from
use
that
one.
chapter that apparently we had already listened to? Whoops.
I'll be honest, last time I was working the chat section and I zoned out and totally missed the part about where they explained that it was the Russians. So I feel lost a little bit.
No. The flyover was the Russians. That's why like the radios went off or whatever. But the gal who got capped that was standing at his front door, it was this little gang.
No, I know, but I'm saying I missed the part where he learned that it was the Russians.
Gotcha.
Like I squirreled for a minute, and then when I came back in and heard him say that, I was like, "Oh, I missed that part."
I feel you. All right. Well,
I can read or I can listen. I can't do both.
I have faith in you. You need to find your inner ADHD and let all of your squirrels run at the same time, but let them know they're going to go in the crock pot if they go too far. All right.
Just
let's
telling
do it.
that my squirrels at the end of their wheel.
All right. We'll tell your fucking wheel squirrels to shut up and listen to this.
In all the chaos of the firefight, I hadn't realized I sustained a nasty gash to my right leg. Between the nerves and the adrenaline, it's no wonder I didn't feel it when it happened. At this point, I was only 1/3 of the way to my mother-in-law's apartment. It was somewhere just after midnight. My leg was now throbbing in pain. I took some cover behind a broken-down vehicle to assess the damage.
Buddy.
I grabbed my med kit from my get-home bag, pulled up my pant leg, saw about a 4 to 5 inch gash running up my shin. There was a trail of blood from my shin running straight down into my Rocky Gear boots. I reached for an anesthetic wipe, some Neosporin, and bandages. I had no peroxide in the bag, but quickly remembered the Molotov cocktails they had been throwing. I slowly walked back to the 2 dead bodies, found some alcohol they had been drinking and using to start fires. I picked up a bottle. It was whiskey. Whiskey and I never mixed. I can still remember my 21st birthday. My buddies only bought me warm Jack Daniels all night long. Shit. It seemed like another lifetime ago now. I took a swig for old time's sake and poured the rest on the cut on my leg. Threw the Neosporin on, wrapped it up. I still had a mile to go, and walking was now painful. Every step with my right leg, the pain would shoot up my shin, straight to my knee. I couldn't help but wonder if I was turning into some sort of sick, deranged monster. I had now killed 5 men in the past 52 hours. I know I had no choice to do it, but the feeling was something I hoped I never got used to. Either of those two groups would have had no reservations to do the same to me. When the grid goes down, I guess you're either the hunter or the hunted. As I made my way down to the road, there were house fires everywhere. It looked like these two scumbags had been busy all night. I wondered how many people were still occupying those houses. In the near distance was my wife's job, the apartment complex she worked at. Her 2014 Lincoln MKZ that was 6 months old was still sitting in front of her office. I smiled to myself. I wasn't going to miss that car payment anymore. The people in those apartments were probably long out of food and water. I was fortunate to own a home and have an entire basement devoted to my preps. Most people didn't have that luxury. Across from the apartments was a local fire department. The building was long since abandoned. The glass front bay door windows were shattered. The building was most likely looted. I decided to enter, see if there was anything worth grabbing. I know they usually kept the departments stocked with food and water, flashlights, first aid, protective gear. I carefully walked inside. It looked like a bomb had went off. Garbage was all over the place. Chairs and tables flipped over. And then the smell hit me. The smell of death, rotting corpses. In the kitchen area, I saw 3 firemen dead on the floor. Bodies riddled with gunshots. They're still in their uniforms. The refrigerator door wide open, completely bare. Cupboard doors flung open with nothing left on the shelves. These 3 men most likely stuck it out instead of abandoning their positions and were gunned down for some food and water. It made me sick to my stomach. There wasn't much of supplies in the firehouse. I had one spot left to check, the actual fire trucks. Inside, I grabbed all the medical supplies they had. On the outside, a fireman's axe was still mounted. I grabbed that as well. I needed one more thing, and there it was, a few blankets. I returned back to the kitchen and placed the blankets over the 3 dead bodies. I couldn't believe in less than a week how much the world had changed. I often wondered what it would be like to experience SHTF. It was jaw-dropping, shocking to say the least. With no rule of law, I wondered about city and county jails. What if the inmates escaped? What about hospitals and nursing homes? They were most likely 5-story morgues now. I had one more side street to navigate before reaching my destination. A 1.5-mile hike had turned into a 3-hour nightmare, and I still had to get back home before daylight. There were even more house fires down on Elm Street. It had been a solid month since we last had a good soaking of rain. That would be the only hope to stop the fires from spreading. At the entrance to my mother-in-law's stood a Starbucks my wife would frequent. No more $6 mocha ventes for anybody. The glass windows were all broke, obvious signs of looters. I could see smoke and fires coming from the apartment complex. I was still too far to tell if it was her building or not. There was a decent-sized pond in the complex that always had an abundance of geese and ducks, a potential food source if things ever got to that point. I had chosen not to radio Jack and Eddie about what transpired earlier. No need to worry them. Damn it. I couldn't believe my eyes. Her building was reduced to rubble, still smoldering from a fire. I looked in the parking lot, hoping her car wasn't there. It wasn't. I guess that was a good thing. The EMP had hit approximately at 2:45 p.m. that first day. She would have been at work when it happened. Now where her apartment once stood, I saw no evidence of a burnt body. She must have never made it home that day. Stranded somewhere in the urban city where she worked for our state government. Who knows what had become of her fate? I doubted if we'd ever see her again. My own mother had been gone 10 years now. My father lived a good 20-minute drive from my house. I'd hoped he was okay. He happened to be the smartest individual I'd ever known. Kind of the MacGyver type. Could fix or build anything using a pile of junk. He wasn't a prepper, but he had 2 rifles, 2 handguns, maybe 700 to 800 rounds. I wasn't a religious person by any means. But at that moment, I looked up and asked the Almighty to look after him and keep him safe. He was the only reason I hadn't left New York State yet. Losing my mother to cancer at a young age had made our relationship even greater. I turned on my walkie, told Jack and Eddie I was en route back to the house. We kept walkie chatter to a minimum in fear of other people listening in on us. Jack answered back, "Copy that." It was the same 1.5-mile journey back if I took the same direct route. And shit, I wasn't sure my right leg could even handle that. It was throbbing so bad, felt like it had its own heartbeat. I knew I needed stitches, probably some medication, fight off any possible infection. I decided to cut through some backyards to shorten the journey. My first obstruction was 20 yards in front of me, a 10-foot-high steel fence that divided residential neighborhoods from the commercial street the apartments were located at. I was leery of climbing that with a leg in bad shape. I pulled off my get-home bag, had just a tool, a pair of heavy-duty side cutters, helped me cut right through the fence. The decision would save me at least a quarter of a mile. As I cut through the fence, I heard a voice say, "Who the hell are you? What are you doing?" Shit, I'd been spotted. I quickly drew the Beretta 90 series on them, told them don't move an inch. I hadn't realized it, but the location of the fence where I cut in at was immediately behind a group home for troubled kids. I didn't recognize it from the back. I told him I was no one important and had just been looking for family in the apartment complex on the other side. He said his name was Dale. He was the only worker left at the group home. The house was still occupied by 7 kids. Ages ranged from 7 to 14. Dale had no family to go home to, so he stayed there. Those kids were all the family he had, and he wasn't going to abandon them at a time like this. He asked me if I'd seen any groups that were deliberately burning houses down. He and the kids were scared their house would be next. I told Dale I ran into 2 guys earlier who I witnessed in person doing it, but they were no longer going to be a threat. Dale said they had witnessed a group of at least 5 to 6 about 4 hours earlier. Great. There were more of those dirtbags still out there. He asked if I had water. He said they have plenty of food, but we're lacking water in the house.
Now taxes is getting up to $4,000 instantly.
20-ounce bottles in my bag, but knew where there was a whole bunch more, and it was fairly close. I told him I could take him there on my way back to my location, but I needed something from him. I pulled up my pant leg, showed him the deep gash I'd received, and I needed antibiotics. And this being a group home, they may have some. I was in luck, he said. I told him grab the medicine, any containers, jugs, buckets they had, a few helping hands to help carry the water back. Dale came back with a bottle of penicillin and the 2 oldest boys in the house. I told them at the end of Elm Street there was a fire department. I'd stopped in there on my way. The food and water was wiped out, but the reserve tank on the truck was full of water. It was a quarter mile down the street and could be a source of water for them for a while. Dale was ecstatic. Felt dumb at the same time for not thinking of it. I told the group I'd lead them there and help. We'd fill up, but I needed to get back to my family. I pulled Dale aside and told him what I had discovered in the kitchen. And you might want to keep the boys out of there. They had brought enough containers for 15 to 20 gallons of water. I stood guard out front as Dale and the 2 boys filled up. I thanked them for the antibiotics and told them to stay safe. This is a different world we live in now. Dale was one of the good guys who refused to abandon a group of at-risk and troubled kids. the type of person this new world needed. As they turned to head their way, I turned in the opposite direction to make the final mile home. I was hesitant, knowing there was still more of that group out there causing chaos. Just a half mile down the road, due east, was the two I had killed earlier. Lacking sleep, energy, and wounded, I hope I wouldn't run into anybody. Their bodies were still laying where I'd left them. Fire still burning. Then finally, the heavens opened up. The rain that we had lacked, putting us 5 to 6 inches below normal, began to fall. This was a sight for sore eyes. Hopefully would extinguish the out-of-control house fires that were running rampant. The rain felt great, rinsing the sweat and blood off my battered body. Half a mile to go to my street. My street sign never looked so good. As I turned left onto Davy Drive, I radioed the boys. 2 minutes out. The sun was now rising to my east. I'd pulled some all-nighters in my younger and wild days, but never a night like this. Eddie on night watch was the first to greet me. The first thing he said was, "You look like shit. You're pale as a ghost." I asked him how my kids and wife are. He said they're sound asleep. I walked in my front door and immediately collapsed onto the floor.
A newsflash: a plane's gone.
All right. How do we feel about that one? I want to stress the importance of, I think, a Jace case, honestly. You know, just basic antibiotics, things that we take for granted, you know, even something as simple as just a good way to clean the wound. You know, it sounds like he just kind of had an ouchie boo-boo kit, right? That was not ready to take on that kind of cut. I would assume we all have a pretty decent amount of medical supplies, since I preached that for a minute. But you don't have like peroxide, alcohol wipes, and then just like basic Neosporin and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, that'll knock out a lot of infection right there. Just cleaning it properly and then getting a good ointment on it to get before the point where you need antibiotics, right?
Yeah.
There are
Very
going to be
good
good
clothes.
people. You don't just have to smoke everybody like, you know, the boys at the little, whatever you call that, the orphanage, basically, right? You're not just going to run around blasting everybody and shit hits the fan. There's good people too.
Gloves, good socks and boots. Protect your hands and feet so you don't get cut.
Big time.
I mean, as much as those kinds of like minor wounds to your hands and feet hurt now, like you stub your toe or like get a paper cut, like as inconvenient as that is now, cutting yourself on a fence or something like that.
Tetanus, yeah.
Yeah, you would be up shit creek in this sort of situation.
I agree. What you got, Pat?
I'd be concerned about the water coming out of a fire truck. Or is it straight up water? Do they add chemicals to that?
I think it's just filled basically from city water.
How rusty is that tank? Like, I don't know. I
I
would
think they
still
get
probably
drained.
want to. I'd want to still filter it best I could and boil it probably.
Probably just depend. Kind of like opening your canned food, you give it the sniff test, the lick test, and then see if you don't die. You wouldn't just like dunk your head in and go at it like your dog does.
Giardia usually takes a while to set in, so you wouldn't know you're dead until the next day.
I could boil it.
Yeah, pretty much boil all your water, just to be safe.
Pack a life straw.
Yeah, Sawyer Mini, a Grail, Catadine. You know, there's higher.
Yeah, I'm lacking a suture kit.
Mm-hmm.
I've been wanting to buy a suture kit and one of those practice panels for
Well,
a
I'll tell you
while
what,
now.
I will do some hillbilly swapping with you on suture kits because that's something Muffin Top has a lot of.
I want to buy one of those silicone plastic practice panels too.
Well, just bust out your flashlight and cut a hole in it, and then it's a two-way deal. It's multi-purpose.
Easy now. That's going to come in handy later.
That is going to come in handy. Having
Are
a
you
couple of
accusing
those in the
Pat of being
wrapper
a
might not
Jedi?
be bad. He is a Jedi.
That's how I'm gonna keep all the young men in my group occupied.
Yep. Give him grub and give him a tub.
That's wrong.
That's funny.
Sounds like a good time.
Steve Fiendog's
Gotta
in.
put the Spry lads on a fruitful task.
I've seen some videos. They work as suppressors too.
PSR.
Queefing.
Yep.
Nice. Anything, Fiendog?
No.
You gotta run them wet, Pat.
Gotta run them up. Yeah, you gotta live them up first.
You're underwater, Muffin.
Ah, come on. Nothing for you, Fiendog?
50,000 leagues.
But no, I don't
Come
have
up for
anything
it.
else to add.
All right. I want to say hi to everybody. We're doing a break in between these little chapter video-esque things. Thanks for everybody hopping in here. I appreciate you all. I'm not trying to miss you. We're just trying to do a little bit different deal tonight. Fish, Gen X. I've seen a whole bunch of people hopping in. Teresa B, thank you for swinging in. Throwing some stuff down. Make sure you check out Jay, Fair Citizen. He has coffee chat tomorrow morning. Muffin Top always comments because we get up about the same time. So yeah, we're gonna keep going here. Everybody mute up.
Tell me what to do.
The roar and boom of the fighter jets awoke me. I opened my eyes to see Lucille, Jack's wife, stitching my leg up. I told Lucille, I didn't know you were a nurse. She replied, I wasn't. I was a veterinary assistant. I wasn't a perfect stitch job, but what would have to do. They found the penicillin I had brought home. Lucille said without that, the infection could have killed me in a few weeks. It was already approaching dusk when I woke up. I'd been sleeping for 14 plus hours. My first real sleep since the world went to shit. Nothing came easy anymore. I had to explain to my wife that her mom's apartment was no longer there, burnt to the ground with only the concrete foundation remaining. Her car wasn't there. She was most likely stuck at work when the EMP detonated. I knew most likely we'd never see her again, even if she was still alive. Her state job was in the urban city, which was most likely complete chaos, destruction, and death now. I told Jack and Eddie about the marauders I ran across less than a half mile from our street. I terminated 2 of the bastards, but according to Dale, at the group home, there were more. There were dozens upon dozens of houses burned out. I'm down to 8 packs of cigarettes. It was imperative that we remain vigilant in our neighborhood. Eddie said there had been heavy air traffic all day long. Majority of the jets looked to be Russian, he said. For every 1 American jet, he had seen close to 10 Russian jets. I decided to check the ham radio, try and gather any information we could.
This is an emergency action notification. The following message is transmitted at the request of the President of the United States. This is not a test. President Barack Obama has hereby issued nationwide martial law for all 48 continental United States effective immediately. The states of Alaska and Hawaii are not included. Attacks against this country are occurring and more attacks are very likely. These attacks are considered
military,
to be acts of
police,
terrorism
anybody.
from an unknown
7
origin.
days now.
Attacks by means of
What
gunfire,
are they talking
bombings,
about?
and abducting have occurred all along the East Coast and are quickly spreading to the central and Midwestern states. American citizens are in danger. It is unlikely that these attacks will cease anytime soon.
Holy shit.
These terrorists have already claimed
Can't believe
hundreds of
this.
thousands of lives within the past 12 and a half hours. For your safety, you must stay inside your home. Lock all doors and windows and seek inner refuge on the lowest floor of your home. Make sure you have essential supplies, including food and water that will last for your stay at home. Rationing may be necessary. Martial law means that citizens in the affected area are being prohibited from leaving their homes without
Hundreds
written
of thousands
consent from
dead.
authorities. If you are not currently in your home, you must head there right now. You are being given the next 30 minutes to leave your current location to return to your residence before law enforcement begins to take action. If you are more than 30 minutes away from your residence, you may be required to get an escort from local authorities. Those caught on the street during this martial law are putting themselves in danger and will be arrested. Stand by for this message.
I just can't believe
This is an emergency action
what this world has turned into.
An emergency action notification remains in effect. The following message is transmitted at the request of the United States government. As of 10:54 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, a portion of the Russian fighters over the Northeast were defeated by the National Guard. However, the second wave has arrived, despite an attempt by the Air Force to shoot them down. The second wave is targeting the following cities: Miami, Atlanta, Richmond, Washington. Cleveland, Lexington, Nashville, and Dallas. The bombers are carrying nuclear weapons, which can produce fallout. If you are in or near the listed cities, set a fallout shelter now. If you cannot find one, the National Guard will lead you to one. Do not try to take on any Russian fighters. Risk your life. If you do so, the National Guard is working to take care of the situation. Only emerge from your fallout shelter if you have been given clearance from the proper authorities. To do so, remember to take a battery-powered radio with you, along with all necessary supplies. Tune to 770 t.m. for more information.
The wave of Russian fighter jets. My family, Eddie, Jack, and Lucille, all heard the emergency broadcast. Eddie questioned if we should evacuate and head to our city's FEMA camp. Jack and I both knew better. It was day 7 now, It was too late to bug out, and I sure as hell was not taking my family to a FEMA camp. I wondered if it was just an aerial invasion, or if there were going to be troops on the ground too. As bad as it was, I couldn't help but think of the 80s version of Red Dawn. We convinced Eddie he needed to stay here. We were already a small group of 7. We couldn't afford to lose anyone. 7 days in, martial law was the word. I hadn't seen any signs of National Guard, military, or police. Just marauders, thugs, and assassins. I told Jack and Eddie it'd be a good idea if each of us did an inventory of our supplies. By the sounds of things, help didn't seem like it would be showing up at our doorstep anytime soon. What was left of the National Guard and military now had more pressing needs. Jack and Eddie returned home to go through their inventory. I headed to the basement to do the same. Ammunition was priority 1. Over 10,000 rounds of 5.56, 1,400 rounds of 12 gauge, 30 plus rounds of 9mm for the Beretta I'd pulled off the Marauders on day 3, and 3 rounds for that Mosin Nagant I had scavenged as well. I moved to what food I kept for my preps. Over 150 pounds of rice, 75 pounds of pasta, 30 jars of sauce, 90 packs of ramen, 56 packages of Mountain House, 50 pounds of beans, 16 cans of soup, 42 cans of vegetables, and 22 cans of raviolis and SpaghettiOs. I had multiple boxes of cereals, 4 big boxes of oatmeal, 6 boxes of pancake mix. I kept a supply of snacks for my kids too. It could be a big morale boost at a time like this. What I never got into, regrettably, was canning meat. My wife and kids were not meat eaters, but I was. We were still eating from the pantry and cupboards in the kitchen. We hadn't touched any of my stock, but that's going to change in the next day or so. I was in good shape with water too. I had 5 7-gallon jugs filled, 5 6-gallon jugs, and over 125 1-gallon Poland Spring jugs still left. I kept Kool-Aid mix and lemonade mix for when the taste of water became too bland. I also stocked Gatorade bottles. I had over 50 of those, 4 12-packs of Mountain Dew, and 6 2-liters of it. The water bob in my tub was about half full, probably 50 gallons left in it. I was never a 1%er in terms of wealth, but when it came to preps, I damn sure was now. I figured Jack and Eddie would soon be running out of food. Jack, Eddie, and I reconvened before I took my turn at my first night watch. With the sleep I had gotten, I was the most rested. Eddie had the 100 rounds of 12 gauge I'd given him with the Maverick 88. He was reduced to 2 pounds of pasta, 8 cans of canned goods, 3 days of vegetables from his garden. He was down to his last case of bottled water. Jack had 720 rounds exactly for his 2 handguns. He figured he'd had about 5 days of food left for he and his wife Lucille. He said he only had 3 gallons of water left before resorting to his hot water tank and tanks on the toilet. I didn't even give it a second thought. I offered him one of my 7-gallon containers. With darkness set in, it was time to hunker down for the night. That's when we heard a voice yelling, "Jack! Jack! Jack!" It was Jack's 45-year-old son. "Ah, shit," I muttered out loud. Jack heard me. He knew I didn't care much for his son, Chris. Eddie didn't either. He had just recently moved out from Jack's house. What kind of person referred to their father by first name anyway? I'd had a few confrontations with him in the past. He'd come rolling into the driveway at all hours of the night, blasting music, presumably drunk. Never once seen him cut the grass or shovel snow. Shit, 2 years ago, Jack had had a heart attack. Chris never stepped up. Eddie and I took turns maintaining Jack's yard. The son of the bitch had the audacity one day to tell me to stop cutting the grass because I woke him up at 4:30 in the afternoon. This was just going to be another mouth to feed. And I knew it wouldn't be long before Chris started trouble.
Listen, you want to skip?
Out from our neighborhood.
Damn it, I clicked the wrong button.
It wasn't even new.
You don't run a nuclear sub.
Yeah, I only hit the red button.
It'd be the last thing you ever said.
Oopsie, everybody. Sorry.
What does this button do?
Yeah.
It's a Canadian sub. He said sorry.
Sorry. Very Canadian-esque.
Oh, this guy might be a prepper when it comes to like a New York urbanite, but 150 pounds of rice and like 40 some cans of stuff.
Yeah, that's not.
It sounds like my cupboard.
Right. That's like my 1 month pantry. Yeah, it's I mean, when I first started prepping, that sounded like a lot, but it's because I had like just one tote of food.
Yeah.
But yeah,
he's
realizes.
He's better than 99% of the people out there.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that's food, man, and we'll take it, right? At the end of the day, if that's what you got, it's way better than not.
Well, think how much better off your entire community would be if you could get everybody to have at least that much.
Right. Yeah, if you could get everybody to have like 200 pounds of rice, roughly 100 pounds of beans, and then like 12 flats of everything they like, and then, 10 cases of water and 10 cases of various other drinks. Freaking win, man. That's way less liabilities you have to mess with.
It would at least make that first couple months easy for the people that didn't have any immediate medical problems or
right. 100.
Whatever.
Sorry, Matt. Did I skip 7? Which one did I skip? Did I fast forward that one, or did it? I think it's gonna fuck this up. Shit. 8. Okay. Yeah, all right. 7. Okay, this is where we're at. Anyway, let's do a vote in the panel, guys. Do a 1 if we want to do another one, or do a 2 if we're done for the night.
Chris only lived.
This dude must have advertisements cranked up to 11.
Yeah, I try to hit them as quiet as possible. But I tell you what, if you're just starting out, those little Husky shelves, they do hold quite a bit of weight. Cans suck, but I mean, look at that. That's like some basic prepper storage. And
I don't know. I have a unique situation with my cans. My stepdad cleans out some barn, and he found these wooden shelves that were for a, I guess they made utensils, like silver spoons, forks, and knives or something, custom. I don't know. But I have 2 ginormous shelving units, and it has all these drawers that pull out, and the cans just lay down in there perfectly.
Hell yeah.
They were a bitch to get in my basement.
But now that they're there, they're never leaving?
Yeah, I told my wife if we move, I'm gonna I'm just going to hack them up into little teeny pieces and take them out in garbage bags.
No, you could just say, hey, if the homeowner wants these, I'll just leave them down here. If not,
Yeah,
oh, well.
they're never coming up the steps, that's for sure.
Yeah, gravity helped you on the way down. Well, it looks like Fiend Dog had to dip out and go to bed because he's been getting up early. He told me that he was going to probably do that. What do you think there, Lawfully? I think well, you know what? Go ahead, Lawfully.
Go ahead with what?
What do you got?
I already said my piece.
Oh,
Just imagine if everybody had at least what he listed off.
Oh, right. You know what I'm seeing is the big thing is the radio with the just the government's using the emergency broadcast to say that, you know, hey, Russians are here, blah blah blah. These aren't our planes. Go to the FEMA camps, whatever. Radios are going to be a big thing, and Muffin Top probably needs to pull the trigger on that. But I've been too busy stacking food.
Sat phones.
Yep.
I remember what I was listening to this morning. They made a strong case for those up phones or whatever, that thing that.
Sean Ryan.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
I think Gruntproof was talking about it on his Intel the other day with
That's where I heard it. That's what it was.
Which he will be having another one tomorrow as well. That might be a new thing.
I'm gonna try and catch Jay.
Yeah, Jay is usually up maybe 15, 20 minutes before Muffin Top. I like to interact with the chat whilst getting ready before my drive to work. Jay's good people. All right, let's crank another one. We got ones in the chat. We're gonna go one more, and then Muffin's gonna call it early because he's tired.
Part timers.
Yeah, well, I get up at 5:30, Dick.
I'm still working at 5:30.
Well, night shift.
Yep. All right.
Yeah. All right, let's do it.
About a half mile from our neighborhood. He said he ran out of food and water and decided to come back home to his parents. He showed up with no supplies except the 3 cases of natty ice he said he looted from the gas station next to his house. Him showing up at a time like this was the last thing we needed. He'd been twice divorced and had fathered 4 children by 4 different women. A real piece of shit. He said it's the end of the world, so we might as well drink up. I told Jack, I understand that's your son, and if you want to harbor him, that's your choice. But I'm laying down some rules. No drinking, no drugs, no guns. And if I see you as so much look in the direction of my wife and kids, I'll put a bullet between your eyes. He didn't take too kindly to my promise. He said, who made you judge, jury, and executioner? I told Chris, I did. That's who. Don't like it? Then leave. Jack tried to settle things down. He told Eddie and I that Chris would be his responsibility and not to worry about it. I said it'd be best if everyone returned to their houses and I would man night watch. Jack and Chris returned to their house, minus the natty ice that he showed up with. Eddie was on the same page with me regarding Chris. I told Eddie, go rest up. I've got tonight covered. My solar-powered motion lights in the house were the only outdoor lights in the entire neighborhood. I figured they were making my house a target and decided to remove them. Air traffic was still going on at night. The city and the designated FEMA camp was northeast of my house, about 7 miles away. I witnessed fighter jets lighting up the area with bombs and gunfire. From the looks of this, and what I heard on the ham radio, it looked like the Russians were targeting the metropolitan cities where the FEMA camps were set up. I could only imagine how many people have died in the first week. It had to be millions upon millions dead across the country. Martial law was declared, but who the hell was enforcing it? I'd seen a few American fighter jets in the air, but no one on the ground. 8 days in, no help on the horizon. It was just us. If I could go back in time, I would have made sure I was part of a large community of like-minded people with at least 1 or 2 spots to bug out to. Truthfully, I knew we were sitting ducks in this neighborhood. Bombs being dropped just 7 short miles away. The city was on fire. Anyone who took the government's advice to evacuate to the FEMA camps were probably long dead by now. The silence on the street was eerie at night, and even during the day. No cars, no TVs, no cell phones, just darkness. I wasn't sure how many houses were still occupied. The night before, I had seen candles in a few, but not many. I decided come morning, I'd recruit Eddie. We'd go house to house and find out who was still left. I'd lived on this street for 9+ years and had gotten to know name and face at most of the houses. It would be a risky mission, but I felt the payoff would be worth it. We needed more numbers for security to help protect our neighborhood. There was power in numbers now. I could hear screams coming from a nearby street. I could only imagine what the cause was. I can't emphasize enough how much this world has changed. Burglary, assault, rape, and murder was all too common now. The screams continued. It sounded to be coming from the area where I'd killed the 2 marauders. About a half mile from my house. I was on high alert, but decided not to investigate. I did not want to leave the immediate area and leave our 3 houses defenseless. The sun would be rising soon, and we could check it out then. With each passing fighter jet, I wondered if our time would be up. Would they decide today was the day to level our neighborhood? How long before we witnessed a ground invasion? I was counting down the minutes till sunrise. Each sunrise meant we made it through another night. Each night seemed to be longer than the previous. Jack, Eddie, and I would reconvene each morning after the night watch, wrapped at sunrise. My wife would put together some oatmeal, pancakes, or Mountain House scrambled eggs. It was difficult on her and my kids being cooped up in the house 24/7. This was their summer vacation, a time when you make memories, go to amusement parks, vacations, movies, or lounging in the pool. This was no world for children to live in. Eddie radioed Jack and I saying he was on his way out for our morning meeting. Jack called back saying he was ready too. Our meetings used to take place in my backyard, but with an aerial threat, we had moved them into my garage. My wife had maple brown sugar oatmeal waiting for us. I asked Jack how Chris was during the night. He said he was fine and reassured me again he wouldn't be a problem. I wasn't buying it, but I decided to move on to the next topic. I told the 2 of them that I witnessed the jets bombing the city. I figured they were laying waste to all the urban cities via air before they possibly start with a ground invasion. We didn't live in a major metropolitan city. Total population was about 250,000. It was awful to think, but I hoped that they were still focusing on the big cities. I moved on to the screams I heard around the corner that were about 2 hours old now. I then just suggested we go door to door on our street and try and find out who's still here and who's not. I asked Eddie if he was up for a recon mission and to see where the screams came from. I was hesitant to bring Eddie along now that Chris was back at Jack's, but venturing out solo was incredibly dangerous. I'd leave my wife the Beretta 90 series, and she always had the walkie-talkie with her. We'd only venture a half mile out and could return very quickly. We'd finish breakfast and immediately head out. I handed Eddie one of my bandoliers and told him to fill it up with 50 rounds. I'd meet him at his house in 15 minutes. I was ready, still wearing my chest rig from the night watch, with 6 magazines attached. I told my wife to keep the walkie on, and if Chris started any shit, don't be afraid to put him down. She asked me why I needed to go out. I told her those screams were too close for comfort and could be coming from our street tonight. My leg still bothered me, but the penicillin and stitches had helped fight off an infection. I promised her we'd be back ASAP and kissed her goodbye. I walked outside across the street to Eddie's. He was already sweating profusely. I could tell he was uneasy with nerves. In his 56 years, he'd never shot a gun. He was armed with a Maverick 88, fully loaded with 50 rounds of double-aught buckshot over his shoulder. It had been a good 2 hours since I had last seen a fighter jet. At the first sound of one, we'd have to immediately take cover to try and avoid being noticed. Now that it was just he and I, we could discuss the black cloud of Chris. Eddie was on board with the rules I laid down on him last night. He didn't trust him and he never cared for him too. My biggest concern was Chris dividing Jack against us. Things had gone very smoothly when it was just the three of us. Eddie and I navigated the 500 yards of our street out to the main road with no issues. I told him the screams had come from the vicinity of where I engaged in the firefight 2 days before. We headed west, and I could still see the trees and telephone pole blocking the road. What I didn't see were the two bodies I had left there. I whispered to Eddie, make sure the safety's off, and be ready. The smell of the older lady rotting in the car had Eddie vomiting. There went the oatmeal he just had eaten. I told him the bodies were gone. Somebody had moved them. I knew there were more guys in that group than the two I had taken out. We approached the blockade in the road carefully, when on the other side, I discovered where the screams came from. This time I almost vomited. It looked to be a family of 5. The reason I said it looked to be was because each person was completely dismembered. I could count 5 torsos with legs, arms, and heads all scattered about. Eddie couldn't even look. He was visibly upset, shaking from head to toe. He asked me who would do such a grotesque thing. Why would they do it? Shit. I knew the answer. I'd left a guy from the gas station decapitated that night. The rest of his group must have found them, decided to do even worse to the first group of people they came across. What Eddie found next struck me to my nerves. There were arrows on the road made out of blood, pointing in the direction of our street. I told him, come on, let's go. The blood was still wet. We need to get home and get ready. They intended to come our way next. We wasted no time returning back home, a mere 20 minutes after we initially left. There will be no sleep today after the all-nighter on watch. It was still morning, but we were now on high alert. We went immediately to Jack's house to tell him what we had discovered. Chris was still asleep in the basement. Lucille, who was hard of hearing, now was deaf with no batteries for her hearing aids. I expected this group to show up tonight. They seemed to operate nocturnally. The three of us needed to form a plan and be ready for the coming attack.
All right, boys. Seen T's talking to Justin B. What's up, Justin B? That's funny. I like
Keeper
that.
gang.
Hashtag Keeper Gang. My only spams. Now about your shelf, sure can. Yeah, my shelf was fucking legit. Coolfoot seen it. Muffin Top made a baller shelf. I made a real man shelf. I made it all myself. 2x4s and screws and other boards, baby.
This is a good near the precipice of the climax to leave off for the night, I guess.
I agree. Cliffhanger it. I'll try and knock this book out this weekend, guys, but just depends what I got going on. Gonna be busy. Sunday give me a little bit more time. But,
One last bake off.
Let's do a bake-off. Let's get the last one in here, boys. Muffin Top will drop in. I appreciate everybody. What do y'all take from that? I think there will be some very savage actors that do that, to people that just because they can, they might be tweaked out or they might be, off their meds. There'll just be people that, especially gangs and stuff like that, that we've had come up from the border, that's how they assert dominance, is just pure 100% violence. And we're kind of, away from that in America a little bit. Well, a lot of it, other than like cities where everybody's holding switches sideways. But, normal towns, we don't have that problem. Yeah. What are you going to do if you find that? So you find somebody dismembering people and laying them out in the roads and Molotov cocktailing every house that's, non-vacant that actually has people sheltering in there. Like, what's the point of that? If somebody's sheltering in there, they have to have supplies of some sort, right? Wouldn't you want to take them out, take the supplies, and then do that to show a message that you're the boss and you get their shit? Or, I mean, yeah, Genex, no shit, we don't have a border right now. Thanks, Biden. Good riddance. Hate that guy. Yeah, straight Negan, bro. I mean, seriously, there'll be some shit like that.
Little
Lafayette
pig, little pig.
Let me in.
Let me in.
You got the lady counting all the food, and she's a fat one. And all the rest of you is skinny. She's like, oh. I like that. Y'all like the adjustments on the muffins?
Yeah.
Good. What do you guys take?
It lets you know how the other half lives.
I don't know how I would handle something like that. Like, even though his supplies are where he is, I don't see where he's held up as being sustainable.
Yeah, it doesn't seem very safe at the moment.
And you're only 8 days in. Like, you can't live like that every day and every night. Like,
I agree with that.
I don't know. I don't know that I'd be out scouting people. I'd be out scouting for some 1960s fucking pickup truck.
Getting the hell out of there.
Yeah, loading up and getting the hell out of Dodge.
Yep. Well, next time on the Muffin Top Show, you haven't listened to the series yet.
You're underwater.
There's more in the series, and I can't say anything else, otherwise it'll ruin it for anybody who hasn't heard it.
I think I might take a page out of their own book. I might start dropping trees and telephone poles and stuff around my house.
Right.
Trying to,
Gives you more time to react.
Yeah, slow the movement of anybody advancing.
Right. But remember, it also heeds you from escaping.
I had this crazy idea to plant a bunch of bamboo in my backwoods to like make it impassable, except for like maybe one trail down the middle.
Well, bamboo ain't bad because you can also cut it and it makes really good those sticks.
Bungee stakes.
For barrier and for gardening, to make things like gardening trellises for stuff to grow up. Bamboo is a very good rich resource, and yes, you can help it with a barrier as well. So I mean, if you have property, yeah, it's pretty good shit. But Scoot said he went to the kitchen and heard the Negan whistle.
I'm glad there's a bunch of glad there's a bunch of Walking Dead fans.
Oh, I love me
Lets
some
me-
Walking Dead.
Lets me know I'm amongst my people.
These are your people, Patrick. Nerds. Shut up, Foster. You're a nerd. You're our nerd. That's why we love you.
She's a vampire bat.
I don't remember that right offhand. Is that when he said he wanted her to suck his wiener?
What?
I don't know what's going on anymore. Okay. I must have missed something in the chat.
Lucille the bat. He made the joke.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
a vampire bat. She wants
Right.
blood.
My bad. I'm sorry. Scoot and Coop, nice. Next time, Coop, if I have more time, I'll get you in on this one. I'm gonna go for a longer time next time. Hopefully, I can knock the rest of it out. Probably not. There's like 30. I think there's 31, 33, something like that in this series. Gets pretty good. It's about to really start taking off.
I've been kicking around an idea in my head to have like a big block party this summer. Like go drop notes on everybody's door, 10 houses one way, 10 houses the other way, invite everybody over.
Yeah, I mean, go to Costco or Sam's, get you a freaking case of hot dogs and slap them on with some, ring sausage and some brats. And if nobody wants anything else, they can bring some to slap on there. It's a good way to build a community, man.
Yeah, do like a potluck and
BYOB and
BYOB. Yeah.
Yeah,
So when your neighbors bring his own crock pot.
Yeah.
Or, a pressure cooker.
Ooh. Well, you can get you
No
like
people.
4 crock pots of cheese dip, too. That's pretty cheap there, Pat. And dip and chips ain't never bad, right? Do like a couple Velveeta.
Yeah, my wife makes this killer like taco dip something or I don't even know what the hell it's called.
Yeah.
All right, where's the invite? I'll be over.
The queso with a taco meat in it.
I know there's at least one kindred spirit down one side of the road because pretty much every time I go out and start planking in my backyard, I'll start hearing some gunshots from over there too. So It's almost like we're calling to each other.
Mm-hmm.
He just wants you to find them. And, yeah, maybe you get a good walk going, or maybe you pitch the neighborhood watch, or maybe find a spot for a community garden too, man. I mean, there's a lot of ways to do it. But yeah, slapping together a block party on your dime, there'll be some people that come on over. Not too bad, man. Not too bad, especially in the economy being rough. I think it's going to get a little bit rougher, especially with the. They're broth, chicken, cows. They're going after all kinds of different food. I think another one I seen was, what was it? It was something bizarre. It was like, was it pop or something? Something got recalled for that, and then it was also your spinach and man, it was something weird. I thought it was like cream of mushroom for some reason. That's what's coming to mind, like a recall on cream of mushroom or something like that. I don't know. They're recalling a lot of food, and I wonder if these elites are using this recall to stock their bunkers up. Honestly, pretty good way to do it. Take the food away from the civilians. They're like, oh, it's a shortage because all this, and they just drive it on down into their freaking bunkers and don't worry about it.
Maybe. I think it's that our supply chain is still dicked up from COVID, and the mentality of like ship it and we'll chance it, and then a couple of people get sick and they have to recall it. They don't want to risk being sued into oblivion. So it's just like all the cans and stuff, like the grocery stores. I don't know about where everyone else lives. Maybe you can drop a comment if you see this too, but my Walmart doesn't rotate anymore.
Oh yeah.
So like
people are
I
so
can
fucking
literally
lazy. They're lucky to get it on the shelf.
I can literally touch the same dented can that was on the shelf a week or two before, where customers are just shopping around them.
Yeah. You should put a sticker on it or a Sharpie it, and
I mean, I gave up back like peak COVID. I tried to give the same 3 cans or like tubs of ghee
Uh-huh.
to somebody. Like I showed a lady that it was like 3 months out of date on the shelf. And I was like, "Can I just give these to you?" And she's like, "Yeah." And she put them in her shopping cart that she was stocking from. And then the next week when we were there, they were back out in the spot. So finally, I found one of the salaried managers that I used to work with and gave it to him. And he took it back and cleansed it or whatever.
Yeah, I was going to say that exact thing. I've noticed that the sell by dates on stuff isn't as far out as it used to be.
Right.
Like, does that mean that
issue.
does that mean they're changing their standards and like putting the sell by date sooner, or does that just mean it's older stock?
I really think that they're burning through the old stock and they're not getting replenished enough. I think that we as Americans were super duper duper used to luxury to the point where you could go into Walmart and bitch about a dented can, and it might be only dented cans because that's all that's left. There's not enough. What was it? There was a big cannery that got shut down here this year. Like, just with all the food. Look at all the stuff that happened with the explosions on all the food processing plants. You don't think that was going to catch up to us sometime? We're just lucky that we had enough domestic that we got like limped along to this point, and now I think we're finally seeing that lag in production. You know, trying to get a new facility up and going with all the freaking machines and stuff they need to get going, and all the shipping and logistics getting lined up, let alone all the product that they need to cook it all and can it. Like, it don't happen overnight. Like, that is a big undertaking. And when you have, I think, what was it, like 179 different facilities, different sectors everywhere in the food market, just that alone on top of COVID, I think this is like kind of the tail end of the stockpile, you know what I mean? Of like what they had before producing more kind of deal. Basically just eating off the warehouse stock.
I don't know.
Hopefully
So
not
many of
that
the grocery
bad.
stores now don't really have warehouses. They do. They have distribution centers, but they're not buying it. I forget the term for it. Pat, you may know being a trucker, but like the idea now is like your grocery stores a, they don't have extra in back stock in the back
Right.
room anymore.
They're running very lean.
Yeah, like it's
They haven't been like that in years.
right. But I mean,
Just in time
My
delivery.
wife worked at a smaller grocery store, and she got a truck every 3 days. So
Right.
there was what was on the shelf. That was it. There's nothing in the back.
That's not good.
just on time arrival or something like that they call it.
Yeah,
There's
just in time. Just in time delivery.
Yeah. I mean, hell, just a Walmart around here gets 6 to 8 trucks a day. I mean,
well, because you've got grocery trucks and you've got dry good trucks. So the dry good
right.
trucks are all your dog food and your
Clothes
paint and
and
your
crap
auto
and
supplies. Yeah. And then sometimes they'll have palletized water on them. And then over on the grocery side, you get your dry good grocery trucks, your frozen and dairy truck, and then like a meat truck normally. Sometimes the reefer truck will be split and it'll be a part dairy, part reefer.
right. I don't know. It's wild, man. Just the times makes you glad you got something put back, even if it's just a closet full, guys. Even if what you have prepped, I mean, I know might have sounded like we were talking down on it, but that guy realistically thinking that he had a year's worth of supplies just in that picture, not even close. Remember, 700 pounds per person. That wasn't 700 pounds per person. You know.
Yeah, notice his timeline and his numbers don't add up.
Yeah, and it might have been, what they thought. Maybe he was figuring on, I don't know what he was figuring on, calorie count, or maybe he was just thinking like one meal a day or something. But I don't know. It's different for everybody.
Kind of, I think you have to triage in that situation too. Like the family members that are just like chilling in the house all day, they're not getting 3 squares a day.
No, they're getting like a scoop of oatmeal and then like a half a pack of ramen split between the 2 kids, and then a pack for mom and dad, and then dinners where they get like their good food, like it's freeze dried, creamy chicken and rice with like 1 chicken breast split between everybody.
It's probably good to go to 1 or 2 meals a day for everybody, anyways.
Right.
Of course, like he's already admitted he's overweight.
Right.
So he's got some fat stores to lose.
Yeah.
And get ketogenic.
But in the interim, when your body's switching over from burning sugar, like most everybody is, to burning fat, there's a lag there.
Yeah.
Your body doesn't just like flip a switch and start using fat for energy. So you could be run down and not have any energy, even though you do have fat stores.
Well, it's just like you don't just immediately switch from eating your standard diet to all of a sudden eating a bunch of rehydrated beans and rice either. That fucks with your gut biome.
You gotta have some of the normalcy. That's why the pantry is a big deal, right? You gotta mix in some of that freeze-dried stuff with your regular everyday.
You'd be waddling around with the bubble guts.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing that. Which
like
is
muffin top and his cabbage soup.
Oh my god. I don't want to talk about that right now. It's working. It's working really good. It's working probably a little too good.
Does it itch when you laugh?
No. But it's close. Thanks for reminding me.
All right.
Now I'm sad about trying to be less fat and be healthy.
No reason to be sad about that. My wife and I just had a very earnest conversation today. Mm-hmm. And when I woke up today to go to work, there was a bunch of boxes in the dining room table with all our junk food.
Nice.
And she's gonna try and give it away.
Cool, man. Getting everybody on board is like a super huge step. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna try and go. I don't know if the carnivore is the right word, but meat and veggies exclusively.
That's pretty much what I'm doing.
We're trying to get rid of the all the pasta and bread.
Which pasta ain't bad. That's long-term storage. I mean, honestly, spaghetti is probably one of the best prepper meals.
Yeah, we watched
it's great.
We watched a bear video a long time ago, and we bought a year's supply of spaghetti.
52 jars, 52 boxes of pasta. Yep.
Yeah, once a week we can have spaghetti once a week for a year before we ever even come close to running out.
Yep. That's the way, and it's cheap. It's dirt cheap to do that. Like spaghetti, just meat and sauce, or without the meat, but you supplement a chungus in there, whatever. It is attainable.
So, yeah, when shit hits the fan and we start digging into that stuff, calories aren't going to be that much of a concern. You won't be concerned about too many calories anymore. You're going to be concerned about carbs. You're going to be concerned about enough.
Right. I 100% agree, man.
Just reminded everybody to have a couple bottles of multivitamins.
Yeah, multivitamins are huge. Not to mention, I think those survival tabs are a pretty good buy too. they have a pretty long shelf life and they have a lot of calories and stuff. But to my knowledge, multivitamins are pretty hard to store. Actually, I think they everything in them they kind of go bad after so long. Because I'm in a bottle that I had. Yeah, I'm in a bottle that I got that's maybe 3 or 4 years old, and it's kind of not as fresh.
Have you ever seen the lifeboat rations?
Yeah,
I have ate the lifeboat rations.
They will run you out of water fast because they are dry.
Yeah. Well, they're supposed to last a long time and like fucking 3,000 calories or 5,000 calories or something like that.
Yeah, but you better have a gallon of water to drink with it.
Whatever your package says, I promise have at least double that per ration.
I don't have any. I just know, guys.
A friend and I cracked a pack open one time on a hog hunt because we got way out in the boonies and then realized we didn't bring snacks. So we're like, yeah, we'll try these out. And like, I swear, Pat, it's like a bird feeder suet cake mixed with like really dense cornbread. Like it was sweet and greasy. Like it just coats your whole mouth.
Oh, yuck.
Like I'd eat it if I were starving, but it was like, holy shit. Like I didn't have like there wasn't enough water. Like you couldn't. It's like you like put a whole tube of chapstick in your mouth and just like rubbed it around.
Amazing.
I will say though that orange one they sell at like Walmart, that's the apple cinnamon one. That one ain't bad. There's like 300 calories, a little cube. It comes in like a cracker, kind of like a Hershey's bar almost, like little cube sections. If you take some of that and crush it up with like a spoon or something and put it in some oatmeal and split like a couple packets of oatmeal in one of those tiny bars between two people, that's a pretty good little A, boost to the oatmeal flavor wise, but B, calorie dense. Like you want your biggest meal, like we did that hunting, me and R, and it was good. And it was cold years, and we did a lot of walking that year, and we were good. You know what I mean? And those already come in Mylar, vacuum sealed down, and they're like 6-8 muffins. Those I recommend over the Daytrex bars because the Daytrex bars are very weird, bland texture, and they will make you suck water, dude.
Well, that's a shitty thing to have in a lifeboat.
Yeah, it's like almost
water everywhere, but not a drop to drink.
Right. It's almost a cruel joke.
I think they normally include the like full bags of emergency water in the same compartment as those foil bags of lifeboat rations.
Yeah.
And that's why it instructs you to eat like one tablet with 8 ounces of water or whatever, because I think those bags are like 8 ounces.
I think there's 6.
But I'm telling you, like,
I actually drank one on
whatever.
I got a video.
I don't remember. It's been 7 or 8 years ago since I ate that pack.
Right.
Part of that pack. But I can tell you that
didn't finish it.
Eating 2 or 3 of those squares, my determination was that I would want at least double the water it recommends the next time.
100.
Just to get the taste, that film out of your mouth again. I mean, it didn't taste bad. It was just that it was like
texture.
Yeah, greasy and dense.
So truly an emergency ration, not something to try and live off of later.
No.
I wouldn't want to, not without other stuff to supplement. Like a lot of water.
Yeah. Spices are big.
Maybe some real meat.
I mean, some taco seasoning goes a long way with, anything. But yeah.
Squirrel tacos.
Yeah, dude. I mean, raccoon tacos, whatever. Like, yeah. I mean, taco seasoning really takes some shit tasting out of something and makes it halfway edible. Because we've all had shitty tacos. I mean, we all had fucking Taco Bell. We still ate it. Same.
I'm white, so I make shitty tacos.
Yeah, same. I like shitty taco. White people taco night.
White people taco, yeah.
White people taco night. That's hilarious. But yeah, guys, just get your stuff ready. Stay out of crowds. Basically, like if you were gonna go to a ball game or anything, don't. If you want to go to anything like that, don't rethink it. If you're going to a school or whatever, find a way to, if it's like a loved one, grandkid, kid, whatever, find a way to have that thing on you. For don't be there. Churches, same. Watch out for that. If your church doesn't have any security thing in place, offer to start one up. Medical goes a long way. Carry those Slishmans, man. Honestly, teach everybody how to run them. Like, my wife is pretty confident with it because I showed her just how easy it was. Like, she was not on board with the tourniquet deal. But the Slishman is super easy, and I think if you taught like a football team full of kids how to use them, it'd be a great asset in helping, further issues like that. I think the Slishmans, and I think you're right, Lawfully. I think Jay's got them too cheap. I'm going to pick me up a couple more, I think, this week.
I don't want to plant the idea that he's got them too cheap. He just has the best price on them, and he's got them in stock.
Yeah.
I hope he has them in stock.
Yeah, I think they're pretty good. I think Muffin Top's going to get on the radios this year. I want to get night vision, but I'm also working on other financial goals right now. So
Bear already raised his price, and they were out of stock of the Slishmans last week, unless you bought a kit that had one in it.
dang.
The kid kits and some of the others that come pre-packed with one, like they didn't have any to sell individually.
Dang.
Jay's shipping is like $8 or $8.50 flat USPS.
Yeah,
Put it in a box.
It's pretty freaking good. Yeah, I like Jay. Make sure you guys check him out. Coffee Time.
Can you fold those down like flat?
Dude,
Because they come rolled up,
flat.
right?
No.
Yeah.
They're pretty flat.
Well, they're flat rolled, like they're wrapped up, but they fit about a half deck of cards. Maybe a little thicker than a deck of cards, but narrower than a deck of cards. Like you could easily put two of them side by side in a back pocket and just look like you had another wallet.
Right. Or an ankle kit. Or, tuck it in your belt loop and put the Velcro back on it.
Yeah, it's about time for me to order some more.
Yeah.
I need to order some fresh chest seals for my ankle kit. And I think at that point I will rearrange. I've got a SWAT tee in there right now, but I think I'm going to end up replacing it with probably a couple of the Slishmans. I think I could squeeze two Slishmans in where I've got the other tourniquet.
Yeah, I think
I need to wash it. It stinks.
It stinks nice and good.
Hey, at least you're wearing it.
Yeah,
like walking the walk.
Talking the talk and walking that walk, lawfully armed.
Yep.
All right, guys, let's shut this down. I'm messing with the sling, trying to get it just exactly the way I want it. And I need to be
Thank you, Teresa, for dropping the links tonight.
Yes, Teresa, I really appreciate you. Do a fine job. Teresa B, hats off to you. You're a big help. Me and Lawfully Arms Monkey Brain couldn't handle it.
I got to thinking about you guys using the 550 cord instead of the QD sling swivels, all that stuff.
Yep.
You're just putting that right onto the rail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Don't worry about the sharp edges on the rail cutting into that at all.
Just replace it every year, man, and you'll be fine. It's 550 cord, dirt cheap.
Because they do make the M lock and stuff like a sling loop. It's just a fixed loop that doesn't move.
Yeah, the paraclip loop.
It seemed like that would be a little more reliable.
I haven't had any issues with mine. Admittedly, I've not run it hard, but I've not had any issues with it yet.
Allegedly.
I mean, I hadn't yet. Like with it, I mean, because paracort's made to be high abrasion.
Right. Yeah, I was watching some dude. He was like just getting into 3-gun. It was an older video, and he's like, "I'm just going to do the paracord trick." He's like, "Just replace it every year." And he wasn't even doubling it up. He was just doing a single loop. He's like, "Man, it works in the military. Like, it works. Just run it."
Yeah, I think I'd actually trust that over a freaking QD. I've had my QDs pop out.
Yeah, I have too. That's what made me quit running them. I had it walked out, and I had to walk the gun back, and I took the other QD off, and I just held the gun, and it was fucking cold.
Like,
I
imagine
just didn't
that.
like how much it jingled walking around in the woods last fall with it, trying to hunt with my AR.
Yeah.
You know,
Which
if
I
you
think
kept
that
it,
gave
if you
me.
kept the sling under.
Yeah. I think that gave
If you
up the
kept
ghost
this-
on one of my coyotes. So I think that's what you were right, Lawfully.
Well, if you're worried about noise, all you do is electric tape the thing.
Yeah. Well, you know what's even better is just doing the paracord trick, and then you're good. I mean, honestly, it's cheap. I see a lot of people going back to it. It's probably for a reason. A, it's budget friendly, and B, it works. You can literally set it wherever you want, anywhere, like through your M-Lock, through your key mod, whatever, your quad rail. Like, you can run it through any little freaking orifice in your handguard and put it exactly where you want it. I like running it right behind my hand where I put my vert grip. So my C grip's always the same. So that's just a little bit extra little nub I get to like push with my hand into my shoulder. Like just a little bit extra. Like, why not? It fits perfect. My hand exactly every time. My hand goes to the same spot every single time. And I know I'm locked in with the grip that I want. Every single time I feel that on the back of my palm. I feel my toggle switch with my light on my thumb. And I know I got the same grip every single time because it can't move from there, right? So I like it a lot.
Yeah, I think I need to move my sling around. I watched that video you put out on the Nezumi, and
Yeah, that is not my best sling work, but
how kind of awkward it is to sling your rifle with a big old chest rig like that on.
Yeah,
like
kind of.
It sticks the rifle out from your body so far, or else I don't even know what to do with my rifle when I got a big old chest rig on.
That was me being lazy. You could take some slack out of it and move it around a little bit better, but I want it right there. Like if I'm like with that one especially, I like just carrying it right in front. I just let it sit on top of all those mags, and then I don't have to hold it with my hands. Or if I want to, I'll hold the vert grip with one for a while to let my right arm dangle and give it a break, or I'll go back up and hold it with my right hand and let my left arm have a break. But for the most part, honestly, I can just sit there with my arms crossed and lean back with my back, right? Just walking, and it lets me stretch out my back a little bit, and then I'm not leaning forward the whole time with all that weight.
You can also just run 2 mags in each pouch in the Nezumi.
Well, yeah,
Like
the point of the Nezumi,
flat.
why I gave it the 8 was the mags. That's the best thing about that rig, is being able to carry 12 freaking mags, bro. If that was just a chest rig that carried 6 mags, no, that's not where it shines. You know what I mean?
Now, right now, my sling is on the back of my buttstock. I'm thinking of moving it to the forward position of the buttstock.
Yeah, I have mine clipped on the other side. Like, I have my Tacticon one. I like it clipped on the side away from me if it's pointing out for me, because it pulls the stock up to you so it doesn't clack your nuts and your knees, especially with the suppressor. But right now, since I have this one has the horizontal pouch, basically the buttstock mag pouch that I put the battery in for my thermal. I'm doing it on the back on the butt right now, and I'm trying to get my little fucking plastic piece to not roll to the back.
So I've got a QD swivel on my buttstock.
Yeah,
I just also have I have a length of like a 3-inch lead of paracord before that the sling is looped around, and I run it outboard on the outboard side on the buttstock, and then it comes around me and then runs inboard side on the handguard.
Oh, you reversed
I don't like it.
Gotcha.
Well, because why you run the buttstock side outboard is so it can come around, and that leaves you enough slack that you can transition to the other shoulder and not choke yourself out.
Right.
Like you can swim your non-dominant arm out and then transition shoulders, and you won't
Your
choke
forward
yourself.
strap is on the left or the right when your buttstock. Yours is on to the right. Well, you're left-handed, so you're
It's on the
hanging
left side of the
right.
buttstock,
Yeah,
and the right side of the forearm.
Yeah, okay. Literally reverse
just
what
would
I
be
got.
mirrored.
Righty, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's how I'm running it, and I find that to be very comfortable. And
But then that way, I still have that one QD to pop out of it if I needed to.
Fair enough.
If I moved indoors and it were exclusively a CQB scenario, I could pop that QD swivel up to my end plate. And that allows you a little more swing in the gun. Like you can still be slung, but then it allows you to like work corners and stuff a little easier. But for 90% of the time, just having the rifle slung on your chest, kind of in a
sling. Yeah.
I've got the bigger sling on my main squeeze, but I've got a couple of the Magpul MS1s and have sold hundreds of them. I probably set up 2 a week for people that are getting their first AR.
Yeah.
And
honestly, it's a pretty good first sling for 31 muffins, man.
I go ahead and once we kind of get it where they like it, I'll go ahead and double the ends back so that I'm not cutting off length, especially if they're a bigger fella.
Right.
I'll double it back over the tri-glide and then give it about 3 wraps of electrical tape just to police those ends. That way they're not there like getting fluffed up and snagged on gear and stuff.
Right. That's what I'm trying to eliminate right now is the... We'll talk offline. Having problems with this buttstock one. It keeps coming looser than what I'd like it to. It's pissing me off a little bit.
What kind of buttstock?
This is the Saber. So the standard Saber stock. Whatever the fuck
I don't know what. I guess I have to Google that to see what it looks
PSA
like.
Saber. Yeah, I don't know. Right.
Yeah.
I think it's all black shit.
Hmm.
If I remember right. Which I could be mistaken. It's got a Palmetto State Armory logo on it, which doesn't mean much. Anyway, let's shut it down, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for swinging by the Muffin Top and Friends channel. Deuces.
Good night, everybody.